Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. My name is Prime, and I'm back with another banger of a build. Last week I showed you my headshot build, of course with the combination with Determined. And today I have a little bit of a different version of it, and you can just run and gun people around. Yes, you heard it right, you can run and one-tap people, because this build gives you the opportunity to just one-shot almost everybody and still staying alive by all the extra survivability that this build has. The combination between the hotshot and other pieces on this build is such a perfect synergy, and as you saw in the intro and you're seeing right now, we are shredding through the game. We're shredding through that content, and even named enemies walk up to them and one-shot them pretty damn easy, running through everything. And this build gives you the vibes of if you are running around with a shotgun, but now if you want to sit a little bit in the background and still one-tap people, you can do that as well. But this build is mainly surrounded by running around and just one-tapping everybody. It is so much fun, and we might want to talk about Determined at the end of the video. But enough intro, let's dive right into the build and show you what kind of banger I made for you today. And there we are, guys. This is the build that you just saw, one-tapping everybody and running around while one-tapping people. It is a lot of fun, and like I said, you can also sit in the back and kill people, but overall this build is a little bit more made for running around and just being in their faces with your sniper. Starting with our specialization, and we are of course using the sharpshooter specialization. This gives us a little bit more headshot damage, a little bit more stability, and a little bit quicker of acquiring targets, and that's why this is one of the best specializations to go for. And don't forget, stack into MMR, pistol, and whatever your secondary will be. And then jumping over to my main gun, and this is almost always the gun that we will use. We don't really use all the other guns, so you can choose whatever you like. And what is this gun? Yes sir, this is the White Death. This is the named marksman rifle that comes with 137% headshot damage. And then next to that, of course, that marksman rifle damage, but that 137% headshot damage is the special of this named MMR. I went with targets out of cover as the attribute on there, and of course we went for the talent Determined. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next shot landing on an enemy will be a guaranteed headshot. So will you land it anywhere on the body, this will be a headshot, and this is why we can run around and just one-shot fools, because every time we shoot somebody, even if you shoot him in the toe, it will be a headshot. And then of course, with the full combination of this build, you can just shred through everything. Last video, I showed you with the max amount of headshot damage, and somebody responded underneath it that they see a lot of mistakes made with a headshot build stacking all the way into headshot damage. And that isn't really what you want to go for. You want to go for critical hit chance, maybe even some critical hit damage, and then go for headshot damage, as long as you stay above that 150%. But it's pretty easy because the White Death of course comes with 137, and then if we jump over to our gear set, we're gaining an extra headshot damage of 30%, so we are already above the cap of 150 for our chest talent, so the rest can go into critical hit chance or critical hit damage. And in that way, I went for critical hit chance, weapon damage, and accuracy on the mods. Then jumping over to my secondary gun and my pistol, again you can use whatever you want. I went for the Dark Winner and of course for the Regulus. Regulus is kinda nice, especially on a headshot build, because of course it comes with Regicide. Headshot kills create a 5-meter explosion, dealing 400% weapon damage and applying bleed to all enemies hit. This is a lot of fun to play around with as well, but mainly we are just one-tapping people with the white def. So let's jump over to the overview of the build, and we are using the hot shot. Why the hot shot? Because we're gaining in 30% marksman rifle damage, 30% weapon handling, and 30% headshot damage, but we're doing it for that 4-piece. First headshot with an MR will increase next headshot by 20%. Second consecutive headshot with an MR will give you 10% armor. If at full armor, it will give bonus armor max 50% of your current armor value. And that's why you can just run and gun. As you saw on the gameplay clips, I had so much extra armor while still one-shotting fools. This is such a great synergy, because this hotshot gear set not only gives you the damage output, but also gives you that survivability if you do consecutive headshots. Not that hard, running up to people, one-tapping them, instantly getting a headshot, and then the headache talent will kick in. The third consecutive headshot will refill your magazine, and that's quite useful because the white def only has 5 bullets in the mag, so if you keep shooting people down and you don't miss a shot, you will get some extra survivability, you will get some extra damage output, and you will refill your magazine. And then for the 4th consecutive headshot, we will get all 3 bonuses, but again, missing a headshot will reset this cycle. So if you can keep it up, you can always gain that 20% extra damage, that extra 10% armor if you get hit, or that extra 50% bonus armor if you don't get hit, and you never have to reload. But this is of course in a perfect world. I chose for weapon damage, critical hit chance, and critical hit chance as a mod on there. For my holster, I chose for weapon damage and critical hit chance as well. And for my gloves, I chose for weapon damage and critical hit chance as well. I found my knee pads with headshot damage, so I optimized that and rolled the armor core over it, because in my opinion, this sweet spot is 2 armor cores, especially if we're running around. That 1.1 million is a very nice place to be. Then jumping over to my chest piece, and this is Araldi. Why Araldi? Because this gives us that 10% marksman rifle damage. We tested out a lot of different builds. We tested out with the Hasbro to go for that headshot damage, if that was more damage output. We even tested out to go for Walker and Harris, and then with the perfect headhunter on there, but still the Araldi does more damage for some reason. So that's why we chose for Araldi. Again, weapon damage, critical hit chance, headshot damage, and another critical hit chance mod on there. And then, of course, with the talent Headhunter. And this just makes the build perfect. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 125% of that killing blow's damage. Damage is capped to 800% of your weapon damage. This is raised to 1250 if your headshot damage is greater than 150. And that's why I explained you do not need to go over that 150 headshot damage, because that will raise the cap to 250 of your weapon damage. So not your headshot damage. So try and build a little bit more into weapon damage, and of course try to go for some crits, because you will love to see those crit shots. You can hit up to that 20 to 22 million a crit shot while we're running around with 2 blue cores. It is so much fun, and it does so much damage and give you some survivability. For the survivability and the extra damage, we of course chose for the Memento. This gives us 3 core attributes: the weapon damage, the armor, and the skill tier. Again, we chose for an attribute, or at least it says attribute, but it's a mod slot for 6% critical hit chance. And then, of course, everybody knows the Memento. Every time that you pick up a trophy, for 10 seconds you gain an extra survivability, an extra damage output, and some extra skill efficiency for every core that you handle. So we are running around with 5 cores red. So every time that we pick up 1 trophy, we're gaining 25% extra weapon damage for 10 seconds. Of course, because we're running around with 2 blue cores, we're gaining an extra 20% bonus armor and 1 core for the skill efficiency, but that's not really that important because we're not using our skills that much. It's all about that weapon damage and it's all about that bonus armor. The only thing that you need to think about is start your chain killing with an headshot. Make sure to, for example, take a red bar, shoot him in the head, and then you can go out of cover, or you can just storm on that group of enemies and one-shot them all. And then try to work towards all your trophies of that memento. That gives you that extra power. That gives you that extra survivability. Staying alive is, of course, the most important part next to doing that insane amount of damage. And then, if you picked up 30 stacks, what is pretty damn fast, you're gaining an extra 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regeneration. Another extra boost of damage, another extra boost of survivability, man. This build comes together so incredibly well and you can just one-shot almost everybody. And the enemies that you want to look out for, and you saw that in the gameplay as well, are the enemies that are wearing a helmet. You can still shoot them in the toe or in the body. The helmet will explode, but they will not get one-shotted. The good thing about that is when their helmet explodes, they stagger a little bit, just stand still and shoot that headshot. You will always do that secondary shot as a headshot, and then you can start that whole sequence again. So that's the only little bit of a problem when you meet people with helmets on. Even with biggies, the named biggies with those grenade launchers, for example, just tap them in their toe, tap them in their chest, their helmet explodes, and then you can 1 or maybe 2 tap that enemy. It depends, of course, a little bit if you can hit your crit shot. But that's pretty much the whole overview of the build and me explaining a little bit how you want to handle this build. So make sure if you take somebody out, run up to that memento stack or the memento trophy, and then just start one-tapping people. Follow your trophies around, giving you more survivability, giving you more damage output, and just shredding through everybody. Let's go over to my skills, and I am using the Reviver Hive, 10% Reviver Armor Repair, 5% range, and 10% health on the mods. And next to that, I'm using the Achilles Pulse because this could help out with biggies as well. This tags weak spot, and that will give you some headshot damage as well. Because we're running around with the headshot build, everything surrounds about headshot. I thought the Achilles Pulse would be a nice addition, and this can definitely come in clutch. I chose for 10% radius and 10% effect duration. Let's jump over to the stats, shall we? The stats are 1.1 million weapon damage. Of course, this is without all the memento procs. We have 57% critical hit chance, as the cap is 60%, and this is the highest I could go because I don't want to overcap. If I choose a mod of 5%, I'm overcapping with 2%. If I'm choosing a gear mod of 6%, I'm overcapping with 3%. If I choose an extra attribute on my gear for critical hit chance, I'm overcapping with 3%, and you don't want that. So I stayed at 57%. We have 45% critical hit damage and still a whooping 222% headshot damage. And that's pretty much it about the whole build, guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you're running around with this build already, or are you sitting in the corner and just one-tapping everybody with the build that I showed you last week. Please try it. If you like to run and gun, try this build out. Like you know, I'm not really a fan of the marksman rifles. I'm not really a fan of sitting still. So I like to run around with my SMG, with my AR, or with my shotgun, for example. And now we made the build to run and gun with an MMR. And I'm having so much fun. So let me know in the comments down below, what would you change around the build? Are you working with this build already, or do you have a different setup? But now, let's talk about the determined talent. If we go back to our inventory and we go back to our white def, we read the determined talent. After killing an enemy with a headshot, the next shot landed on any enemy will be a guaranteed headshot. The problem is, or air quote, the problem is that this combination with Headhunter looks kinda broken. They are investigating it already, but it's a little bit strangely worded because they are saying that the talent works as intended. But they're talking about the determined talent. So how the determined talent works is as intended. But we're not particularly sure if it is intended that you can combine Headhunter with determined talent. That might be broken, that might be a bug. They are investigating it. We will not see it in the next patch. It will probably come out next Tuesday if they have enough people here, because a lot of devs are on holiday right now, so we might need to wait 2 to 3 weeks until we get TU18.3, or if it comes this Tuesday, then we'll probably see the determined fix, if that is a problem, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we can still enjoy this combination for at least 2 or 3 weeks, if I had to guess, because this is a whole guessing game. We don't know if this is intended, and we don't know if they're gonna fix it and when they're gonna fix it. So for now, enjoy one-shotting everybody. Try out this build. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and there are a few different possibilities to do so. We tried a lot of different possibilities, but this is just our favorite one to run and gun around. If you want to just sit in the corner, definitely check out my video from last week, because that will hit a little bit harder, but it's a little bit more squishy. And again, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this build, and of course, let me know what you think about the determined Headhunter combination, because it seems kind of broken. It is a lot of fun, but I don't know if the devs are gonna change it. Let me know in the comments down below, and thank you very much if you're still here. You are a freaking legend if you're still here. Thank you very much for that support, to sticking until the end. Make sure to like this video if it helped you out in any way or form, or of course if you liked the video. And if you want to stay up to date about the Division 2 and the Division universe, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. PurePrime out.